Welcome back, everyone. It's the Monday after Sawfest. We had the Wild Thing. We managed to place third. Super happy with that. But now we're actually going to show what we did with the Wild Thing. It was a rush to the finish. Finally got it done the Friday before Sawfest. Wish we would have had a little more time to get it dialed in. But it ran, it showed up, it made the cuts. And we did overall pretty well. Eric and the crew did a great job hosting the event, putting it on. Everything was awesome. So if you can make it next year, I highly recommend making it to Sawfest 2023. Alrighty, we're going to do what we should have done before Sawfest, but we're going to test this out. This limb came down. We're going to cut it up, see how it does, get a feel for it. Like I said, Sawfest is already over. Should have been done beforehand, but now we got some time. We'll get it done. Well, who says you can't firewood with a pipe saw? Definitely down on power as it heats up, but that's the kind of testing we should have done beforehand.
Get the like and subscribe.
Well, in the spirit of doing this build all out of order, might as well continue doing the video all out of order. Had to hurry up and get this one put together so I can make it to the competition. Well, now that I got some time, I'll be able to show you guys what went into getting it together. What it looks like inside, what the finished cylinder looks like. And then after we do that, then we can get to the dyno runs. But honestly, I'm super happy with this. This is the first time I've ever pushed one. First time I've ever pushed a build like this, and some general knowledge and a little bit of a shot in the dark. And this is what we ended up with, and it's actually ran quite well for a decently long time. I went with 8 head bolts in this nice thick ring because I wanted this head to seal. I've heard of people having sealing issues with the longer studs and only 4 bolts and those kind of things. So I didn't want to have those issues on this one. But I probably will try making another head. We'll get rid of this low compression head and we'll try a high compression head. See what happens, how it works out. Generally, everybody I've talked to has said that the lower compression on pipe doesn't matter because you're spinning it so fast that it's actually building cylinder pressure at RPM once it's on the pipe. That higher compression will definitely help while it's off the pipe. Come on now. Everybody get out of there. Nice thing about 8 head bolts is you got 8 head bolts. Bad thing about it is you got 8 head bolts. Here's the chamber. Sadly, most of it's threaded. While down there at Sawfest talking with Bellhopper, he actually switched to a 10mm plug. That way he could get his compression up. So I'm thinking that might be the ticket with this. But this is pretty much a flat chamber with a nice radius in the side and then the squish band. This was all done by eye. Squish came out right at 23 thousandths. I had a ground carbide tool that had a nice radius on it, so I just did a flat roof into the radius and then a flat squish band. Said, head in the lathe, had to get it done. There it is. This is actually the chrome piston. I set it at about 2.5 thousandths piston to wall. So you can see it slightly down in the bore. Looks like the bore is holding up good. And there we have it. We got the main transfers. I ground in those finger ports, but with the sleeve they turn into boost ports basically. Now the angle of those could definitely be better, but those are the same exact height as the transfers. Then we got a nice big single exhaust. thing on the other side. Then we got the intake. So I'm actually super happy with the way this cylinder is wearing. There's not a Mark 1 on it. This is running the chrome piston and the chrome ring. So in theory, this actually should hold up to some pretty good abuse. But throughout the year, like I said, we're going to push this one. I'd really, really, really like to hit 10 horse. Might have to settle for 8. But remember, it's only 42 cc's. But we'll change the porting, we'll change the pipe. I do need to change this intake. I ran out of JB Weld to blend this piece into the cylinder, so I have a gnarly step way out at the cylinder flange. So that's not helping. It'd be nice to get that taken care of. Adjust the porting some, adjust the pipe some, and I think we might be able to do it. Well, let me know what you guys think of this project. I know it's definitely fun. And I hear they announced that it's going to be a steel 017 MS170 for next year's cheap saw. So I guess I'll have to find one of those too. Certainly hope they keep this class because I plan on having this dialed in. That way, hopefully I can call out Bodie and Eric for a rematch on the Wild Thing. But we'll see how everything goes. Well, kind of running short on time on this one. But this is a piece of Durabar, cast iron bar, that we're going to turn down for a sleeve for the Wild Thing. I can't get the pre-made sleeves, so I'll have to make one from scratch. It has real similar qualities to the sleeves I was using. So we'll get it spun down and make up 2 sleeves for those 2 cylinders we're sleeving. Alright, there's the sleeve. Good. This is 3.5 thousandths press. Nice size flange at the top. Still have to open up the bore a little bit, but you get the idea. This flange will actually help seal it. So, there's one. Now time to do another. There's the other cylinder. Same thing. Nice and porous. But some large deep fingers. This one's just going to be a single exhaust port. And I machined a pair of sleeves. These have the step at the top so they don't fall all the way through. And they'll fit right in. Once they're in, I can machine off the top and it'll actually seal on this surface of the sleeve here. Get these put in the oven and installed. Alright, I got my sleeve set up. Now I'll probably have to press these in, running about 3.5 thousandths interference fit. But I'm going to try doing it solo. Grab it out of the oven, set it up, and hope for the best. Here's the first one. This is the triple port. Nice. Set that back over to cool down. Get this other sleeve ready. This one needs a little help. That's why I started doing them on the press. Alrighty, here they both are. Sleeved up, ready to go on the boring machine. These are extra thick, just in case I had to press them home, which I had to do on the one. But I think that was mostly my fault, trying to hurry up. But it's in there, it's solid. We'll get them bored out. Alright, here's the Wild Thing, so that's bar and chain on. But this one's still functional choke. Functional kill switch. Take the top cover off. I'll show you a little bit closer what's going on. Then we'll make sure it has fuel. Fire it up again, and we're going to make some pulls on the dyno. See where this thing's making power, what kind of RPM it's spinning, and where we can go from there. Two things right off the bat I know I need to redo. I need to redo the cylinder head. It has way too much volume. This thing does not make hardly any compression at all. Undo. There we go. 372 carb. That's just a stock China carb. That's what's left of the kill switch. Stock intake. Put a plate on the back of it. Seal it off. That way I can seal off the strato port. This did start out as a strato cylinder. There's the head we made. For the cable to ride, I'll put a nice little notch right here. Need to tidy up the adapter flange for the pipe. It has a little bit of leak into it. That doesn't help us. I'm just using the primer valve as the tank vent. But I'm going to pull that plug out and we're going to get a compression reading. Then after that, we'll fire it up. Pretty sure when I redo this head, I still want to keep it angled. That way everything fits under the covers. But I'm going to have to go down to a 10mm plug to get the volume I want. Now it could just be because of the crazy high exhaust, it might actually be trapping some compression up there. I don't have high hopes of this making a bunch of compression. But we'll yank it over a bunch of times, see where the needle stops. This is cold, out of the car. Here we go. Alright, right there, about what I was thinking. 120 PSI, maybe 125 on a good day. Too fat for that. Alrighty, we'll put the plug back in, put it back together, get it fired up. In your home. I knew it was light. That was kind of where I figured it'd be, but I wasn't sure if that was just because of the more duration that made it feel that way. But now we know, we'll be able to CC the head and see exactly where it needs to go. Like I said, I really like to get that higher just because this is going to be more of a play saw, race saw. So if we make some heat over 3 or 4 cuts, it's not really going to matter. Well, that's all part of the learning curves on these. So the first time I've ever put a pipe on, trying to make it run on pipe. CPI pipes are good for the stock saws they were built for, but a little bit different with these. So this makes tank number 3 going in. It's already lasted longer than I thought. Alright, we'll see if it fires up. Alright, still runs. So, take this bar and chain off and we'll get it strapped on the dyno. Alright, we're going to need a pony motor to spin it up. Try this again. We added a bolt into the end of the dyno shaft. I got a one-way bearing that I'll run on the drill. We're going to try and get it sped up with the drill fast enough to where we can get up closer to the power band. Alrighty, here's the results. Blue line here, fully modified, Wild Thing on pipe. This light blue line, I took the pipe off and just left a little 1-inch long section of the header. And this pink line down here was one of the bone stock runs from before we did all this. See, that's the horsepower, that's the torque of the pink one, of the stock one. 1.9 horse, 1.56 foot-pounds. That's way back here around 7,200. See, with just the short header pipe, this one does okay. We're up to 2.76 horse, 1.73 foot-pounds. Then we throw a pipe on it. That pipe's really working, it's really hitting, but you see how it just has this little range. And you've seen with that pipe, didn't even have enough torque to get it spun up. So we had to spin it up with the impact to get enough RPM to get it to take over. But so with that pipe on it, it actually had less torque than like a stock 2511. But when that pipe hit, we're up here, 4.15 horse, 1.99 foot-pounds of torque. And if you notice, peak torque's right here, peak horsepower's right here. There's only a 200 RPM gap between where peak torque and peak horsepower is. That's why it was so easy to stuff in the cuts at Sawfest, because you only have that 200 RPM window. Now that kind of window works okay if you got like a CVT clutch. That kind of window works okay if you got a CVT clutch, you know, like a snowmobile or a scooter or even That's still a bit peaky on like a motocross bike too. But you can see there is a little dip in the stock one, but that wants to be basically flat. Torque peaks way down, horsepower peaks up higher. We have a couple hundred RPM, probably 400 RPM separation with just that header pipe. But that was just because that was easy to test. So like I said, we'll be into this one a few more times, make some changes to the pipe, try some different things. I do need to fix the intake. There's a couple other things I need to fix. And I think we'll probably even try some more static compression, reshape that head a little bit. But this is where we ended up. We got third place at Sawfest, and overall had a great time. But I want to share everybody with exactly what's going on. Just want to share with everybody what's going on with this wild thing. And it looks like they just announced the new saw for next year, so we'll probably have to find one of those too. All right, thanks a lot, everyone.